What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to I Do It Myself. I am Wayno. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that sub button. You feel me? So you can get in tune with everything we got going on. Today, we talking about Mexican OT. Mexican OT was on Lip Service with Angela Yee, Cleo Trapper, and Gigi. And Cleo asked him about saying the N-word, right? And what he had to say was, I ain't gonna say kinda, it was extremely bugged out.
I feel like I can say it, but not because of that, and I'm gonna tell you why. I wish there was some black dudes in here.
There are. Will right there. And this one right here is not.
Okay, well, we're gonna use him. What the are you gonna do about it, you know? And then second of all, I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them. I grew up eating with them. I grew up doing bad with them. I grew up loving with them. You know, I got family. And it's not even about family. Even if I wasn't related to nobody out black, I mean, it was. It's what I was surrounded by, you know? Like, I respect people that they feel that way. And that's why I try to shut the up about it.
Right.
But if you're from where I'm from or anywhere, what the you gonna do about it? You know? It's like I don't went to the jungle and earned the lion's head. You know?
I feel like a lot of people that are from Latino descent here in New York feel that same way. The Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and not even trying to justify, but I just got dropped off before us. That's all it is.
Y'all got dropped off first.
What are you gonna do about it? I feel like I went to the jungle and came back with the lion's head. I feel like I went to the jungle and came back with a lion's head to be able to say, nigga, really? You dead ass? You dead serious, bro. And then wonder why people think it's offensive. Also, y'all just got dropped off before us. Very, very, very ridiculous, man. Very, very ridiculous. There was black people in this country before they started bringing us over here. That's why they can't deport us. Feel me? Whole nother story. But let's get into what it is that he said. For him doing the whole challenging thing about what anybody's going to do about it, what anybody's going to say, out of pocket, 2 days late and $20 short. Off the simple fact of, you should have took your own advice. At the point where you say, yo, that's why I don't really like speak on it, then don't speak on it. Don't speak on it, because what we won't do is sit here and pretend like all of us have the same background, right? That's what we're not going to do. Let's get into the word, though. I mean, the word of the day, nigga. Let's get into the word. The word, and I'm not going to say with the hard ER, derives from the Latin word niger, meaning black. In the 17th century, as European powers colonized Africa and began the transatlantic slave trade, English speakers began using variations like Negro to describe African people. This was considered a neutral term at the time. Neutral term by slave masters, right? I bet. Over time, especially in the American South, Negro morphed into, with the hard ER, a deliberately derogatory term and dehumanizing term, excuse me. During slavery, it was commonly used by white enslavers to refer to African people in a way that stripped them of their identity, dignity, and humanity. Yeah, we talking about why y'all feel like niggas, right? I bet. It was not just a slur. It was part of a system of domination that justified slavery, violence, and oppression. We're going to talk about violence as well. Enslaved people were often not given names and were referred to only by this slur, reinforcing their status as property. That's my nigga, you know? But let's keep going through it, right? It says, after slavery ended, the word remained a tool of white supremacy. During the Jim Crow era, 1800s to the 1960s, the hard ER was used to force segregation and second-class status for Black Americans. It was common in literature, songs, films, advertisement, and everyday language amongst white Americans. lynchings, and acts of racial terror were often accompanied by the word, further embedding it into a legacy of violence. During the civil rights era and resistance, as Black Americans fought for civil rights and equality, the word became more widely recognized as a slur. Black activists and intellectuals denounced it as a symbol of racism, hate, and trauma. Writers like James Baldwin and Malcolm X addressed the psychological and social impact of the word on Black identity. See, what we did was we turned it into your favorite word by song, by dance, by television, by the streets, by culture, right? It's very convenient when it comes to culture. Because when we start talking about culture, we can always identify with what's the cool word, but how many of y'all identify with the path and the plight that Black people have had to go through to even say that word openly or in a, term of endearment fashion?
Black people walk like that because we have style, we got flavor, we got rhythm. I mean, the black man in America is the most copied man on this planet, bar none. Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. How about that question?
Yeah, Paul Mooney was right, and he been saying this for like his whole career. But yeah, the black man is the most mimicked. But everybody want to be a nigga, but they don't want to be a nigga. Want to know why? Because they don't want to face what we faced. Now, that don't mean that y'all haven't faced oppression, because we all have the same oppressor, the white man. That's why Black power means freedom and empowerment, and white power means oppression, because they've always been in power and they've always used their space wherever they at, whether it's slavery or corporate America or anything else, to let that power reign over everybody. But does that make you a nigga? No, it don't. It don't. And the reason why I'm even speaking on something like this is because I grew up in Spanish Harlem, right? And Spanish Harlem is predominantly Puerto Rican. It's a Puerto Rican side of town on Broadway and all of that is where the Dominicans is at, but it's predominantly Puerto Rican and Mexican. But even with that being said, I didn't grow up with Mexicans. Mexicans in my neighborhood really stayed to themselves. You know what I'm saying? They really stayed to themselves. There wasn't Mexican kids hanging on my block. Even when I was in the same age group as same Mexicans, they wasn't hanging on my block. Now, Puerto Ricans, right? We get the conversation, conversing, about Puerto Ricans and them saying the word. Now, have I seen Puerto Ricans that black as ace of spade? Absolutely. Have I seen those same I've seen Puerto Ricans that's black as I don't know what, blacker than Bernie Mac, or just as black as Bernie Mac, speak fluent Spanish and no English at all, right? Have I dealt with other Puerto Ricans that are what they would say of Spaniard descent that look white? Yeah. Do they identify as black people? No, right? But the Puerto Rican people I do know that do speak Spanish and English, and Dominicans, I have a best friend that's Dominican, and his dad was black like that, and he's dark, has always spoken about the discrimination that he's faced. You know what I'm saying? He's faced being an Afro-Latina, because there are a lot of people that are of Latin descent, but are of African descent. Yes. Are all of them black? No. All of them black? No. But there's a reason why your hair is coarse, and the reason why your skin is bronze. You heard? But with that being said, Texas is a whole different world. I never grew up in the hood in Texas. I don't know nothing about the hood in Texas, but I do see that it seems that they're extremely accepting of people outside of black culture saying the word nigga. For instance, the kid Jen, the white boy that was running around saying, I'm a nigga and what y'all gonna do about it. He was saying the same thing. And he was saying, I got every gang. He got every gang that's willing to ride for him. And this is the thing that bugs me out, right? So you'll allow somebody, your connection is trauma, right? So y'all both from the hood, y'all both grow up in poverty, y'all both ain't got shit. You let him come over your crib so he can eat, or vice versa with yours. You love him, he loves you. That makes him a nigga. What? Ain't nobody, yo, listen, ain't no group of people in America been done filthy as black people. I'm not here to argue with y'all about that. There's no group of people in America that has been done like black people. It's not. Combine all of them together in America. It's not. And the problem that I had with what I just was saying regarding how people give them a pass and let them rock is because, but you'll do something to somebody that look just like you. And I ain't calling for you to harm nobody. That's not the thing. But there has to be some sort of lines drawn. But those lines can't be drawn, and the reason why the lines can't be drawn is because of the culture. Yes, the culture, specifically hip hop culture. The culture that has gotten me out the projects. The culture that has afforded me a life that I love. The culture that so many people love, use, but some people use wrong. Just straight up and down wrong. Let's go back to this clip of C. Delawrence Tucker and her talking about what hip hop has done or what hip hop is doing. And I think that once we hear this, it's going to be a lot to be said about how everybody thought they was right back then, going against her, but they were wrong.
That we stop pondering over the issue of space exploration, that we stop debating whose diary we should publicize, that we stop arguing over what choices each lifestyle has. For today we must be serious about this serious situation, this plague, this death to our society. Our greatest fear right here in America is not from hurricanes or earthquakes, not from disease or war, but from violence one against the other. We must understand clearly that violence comes in many forms and is acted upon by many sources. Whether we are talking about physical violence, spiritual violence, economic violence, or sexual violence, the end result is the same, the destruction of human life. Enough is enough.
Very powerful words. When I was a kid and I used to see on TV, I didn't understand. I wasn't trying to understand. All I wanted to know was, like, why is she going against rap music, right? And being young and impressionable, I couldn't get it. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't get it. But as I got older and you have your own experiences, things start making more sense like this. Jay-Z said, I don't care if you see Delawrence Tucker or you Bill O'Reilly only riling me up. I'm pretty sure he would think differently today. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre, everybody who took a stance against what she was saying, because, you know, in a sense, she was trying to knock the hustle, not literally, you know what I mean? Well, kind of literally, because they was trying to stop, you know, certain songs from going out and certain things from going on. But this is the reason why things are the way they are today. These situations are specifically leaves falling off of those rotten trees that grew. Now, for me to say rotten trees that grew could be extremely hypocritical. I love hip hop. I worked with artists like State Property. You know what I'm saying? I worked with Dipset before. I've worked with Sada Baby. Y'all know all the artists, the rap artists I worked with, and a lot that y'all may not know. So it's like a little bit contradictory to say that, yeah, it's wrong. But the older you get and the wiser you get, you start to put things into perspective. And as I get older and put things into perspective, I'm like, damn, is everything kumbaya? Nah, it's not. Is everything all sweet and cool? Nah, it's not. Do certain artists say things that reflect from their past and storytell? Yes, they do. But culturally and how we operate and how we're so accepting of things is the reason why we end up with in these type of situations. Now, Sauce Walka, one of my favorite rappers. I love Sauce Walka. You know what I'm saying? I totally support him with what he's doing musically. But he said some things regarding this situation that he lost me with. When he started talking about tacos and equating to black people eating tacos, why can we eat tacos and they can't say nigga, was extremely crazy to me. It was extremely crazy to me. Because while we have turned it into a term of endearment, like I was saying earlier in the video, the reason why we turned it into a term of endearment or how people look at it as a term of endearment is because it was used against us so long. It's certain people that didn't have names. It was slaves that didn't have names, that's what they were called. You feel me? But he since then retracted some of his statements after he saw the video. He said he saw, I don't know how he ain't see the video initially. It was everywhere. But after he saw the video, and this is what he had to say.
Say, man, kid that did Sauce Walka. I did an interview last night. Shout out to my boy Dan's a project. He'll be dropping some. The subject in hand, Mexican OT. See, now, at first when I was speaking on what I was speaking on, I was only talking about the shit I seen on Say Cheese with the girl and all that on Say Cheese. My bro Danza showed me the interview and showed me exactly verbatim what Mexican OT said on the interview on the podcast with all the women. OT, bitch, you wrong, ho. I'm gonna tell you why you wrong, little bro. I'm gonna tell you why you wrong, OT. And you got a black brother. That's what you partially was finna get into it, but you didn't want to get into it. Know what I'm saying? You got a whole 50% black brother, nigga, that's mixed, nigga, a real little nigga that's your brother, so you should feel 100%. He should feel, a motherfucker feel what I'm saying. What about this part? I ain't f***ed up with you about saying, can you say nigga, and because you grew up with us, went through all this shit with us, you love us, nigga, you been through everything that a nigga been through, so that's why you feel you say you can say nigga. The problem and the issue is the fact when you say nigga in a room full of women, is there any black niggas in here? Is there any niggas in here? Well, if it is some niggas in here, what you gonna do about it? That's where you fucked up at, brother. That's where the disrespect is. Because, OT, you know, if you was in a room full of violent niggas from Houston, full of violent niggas like myself, TSF niggas, any niggas that's really from the H like that, and we was having that conversation and you said it in that way, y'all said, because who's gonna do shit about it? Nigga, it would have been 6 niggas in a room raising their hands saying they want to fight you. You know that.
See, and this, you know, I mean, he made his points or what he wanted to make a point of, but this is exactly what C. Dolores Tucker was talking about. The violence on humanity, right? Now, my only question is, if you a nigga, what makes you a nigga? Because you eat mac and cheese and collard greens and yams? Because you mess with a black girl? Because the lady who used to watch you after school was black? Because your best friend is black and y'all got into a fight and then y'all hugged each other after? Because you possibly banging a black gang? There's a reason why there ain't no black MS-13 members. There's a reason why ain't no black triads. There's a reason why ain't no white black people in the Aryan Nation. You want to know why? Because they set rules and parameters on what they will accept from others. Don't mean that you can't live amongst others, but if any black man that dates a white woman and has kids with a white woman and eats and loves, you know what I mean, white food, whatever that is, you know what I mean, that doesn't make him a white man. If you start messing with an Italian girl, you know what I'm saying, that's not going to get you into the mafia. But here we are always welcoming people into the cookout. Oh, he got on the right Jordans. he got on the right Jordans. Or he know this song word for word, so he gotta be black. Nah, man. That's not how things go. But I wanted to watch this other thing because it was comical, man. Y'all remember the Boondocks and the S-word episode? You know what I'm saying? This is where they got the inspiration from that episode from.
Keyshawn used the N-word first.
And I just kind of was stunned a second. Well, then get away from the door, nigga. And I repeated the same insult because that's sort of what I've been trained to do.
The school district says that is not what they trained English teacher Paul Dawson to do.
He tried to say I said it, and I didn't say it, and no one else in the class knows that I said it because I didn't.
Documents from the school investigation show that several of the students interviewed from Valley did not hear Keyshawn say the N-word first. Dawson says that students use the slang version of the N-word at Valley High School all the time. He says N-I-G-G-E-R is a racial slur, but says that students use N-I-G-G-A as often as they'd say dude or hey man. And Dawson says as much as he does not like the word, he still used the slang version to feel more comfortable with black students.
Why is this word used so frequently? So I just don't understand it. And I'm trying to understand it. I need help. Yes, I use nigga. I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. That, you know, nigga this, nigga please, nigga, can you lend a nigga a pencil?
What kind of example are you setting for your students if you use a word that you don't want them to use?
Upon reflection, that's not good.
Dawson was suspended.
And even with that being said, man, I mean, as funny as that is, it ain't funny. I'm saying, as funny as that shit is, it really ain't funny. But again, my question for a Mexican OT is this. If you a nigga, talk to us about the black man's struggle. Talk to us about the black woman's struggle. Talk to us about the struggle that black people have gone through in this country. You want to know why you can't? Because you don't know it. Because it's not a part of your culture. Now that's not no disrespect to no Mexicans, because I love everybody that love me. Fuck all the rest of y'all. I love people who love me, no matter your sexuality, no matter your color, no matter what gang you banging. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're respectful and you showing love, you're gonna get love. But my question is when y'all start talking like this, man, I really want y'all to start doing it. If y'all gonna be saying that y'all black because you say nigga, or you can say nigga because you black too, then start talking to us about what black people go through in this country. Start frontlining. I want to see some of y'all niggas at these rallies. You know what I mean? At these protests. I want to see y'all at those too. When we going up for civil rights activism and all types of things that's oppressing us, I want to see y'all there too. You want to know why you won't? Because you don't identify with it, because you ain't a nigga. And no matter how much it sound cool to you, no matter how cool it sound in your songs, no matter how much, you know what I mean, you feel the passion when somebody give you a dap and they hug you and all that, you ain't no nigga, bro. And that's okay. We don't look at you as no less of a man or a woman for you not being of our hue. But stop saying the word. I can't stop nobody from saying nigga more than I could change the weather. So honestly, my thoughts and what I'm talking about isn't to change anybody's mind, but to just shed light on what y'all should be doing. Don't talk about nothing black, bro, if you can't speak on nothing black. For real. You know what I mean? I mean, from a real standpoint, you could say, yeah, I grew up in the right? If I grew up in Chinatown and I was raised by Chinese people, which is a very rare occurrence, that would not make me Chinese. There would still be rules and parameters on things I can and cannot do within their culture. And I think it all starts and ends with respect. Now, if you're around your circle and they permit that, stick with your circle. But when they start asking you about these types of things, just stay out of it, man. Stay out of it. You know what I mean? You better off saying nothing than saying this. This is how I do it myself. For the ones that rock with me, know how we doing. For the ones that don't, eventually will. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.